the table down.
See my pudgy little belly? You see that?
That's because you're wearing leprechaun colours.
So, what this is the unboxing video. Now, this is for the Still Dragon Parrot, which I do really love the parrot. And I fast forwarded through this thing at like 100%. I actually had that body camera on, connected to the camera system, but you know, it just didn't work the way that I thought it was going to work. So we're going to have to like fine tune that right there. But the biggest problem that I had with this entire Still Dragon thing was not necessarily all the parts and pieces. It was the packaging. You spend like $300, right? I think it's like $214 or something like that actually, and then shipping on a parrot, and you're thinking that like this thing is going to be like in some really awesome like MacBook style box that everything fits perfectly.
One would expect.
Yeah, no, it was in styrofoam peanuts.
Yeah.
It was horrible, like absolutely horrible. So
first of all, when you, or at least at my home, when something arrives with these damn styrofoam things,
they get everywhere.
Stuff goes everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
It's like everywhere.
You're spending this kind of money. You're expecting a pre-cut out foam box that this thing goes into, and then I realized that I got to work on the lighting of that whole thing because like. So first things first. What you're gonna notice is originally. Let me go grab that actually.
Yeah, well, no,
That's not a shot.
this is a full pint glass.
It's still like it. Here we go. So we actually have been, when we're done using our parrot, what we started to do was to just soak it in Star San. And this was honestly to try and prevent as much corrosion on the inside as possible. And look how clean the inside of that thing is. You can't really see in there, but the inside of that pipe looks as clean as the outside of that pipe. And what we did, because originally the design was this thing never came off. So we ended up putting a SharkBite union on, just because it was the simplest. And what we could do is we could actually. Also, quick little tip for SharkBite users: when you cut, assume that about an inch of the pipe is going to go in. It's a little bit different depending on the size of the pipe. Sometimes it's 7/8 of an inch. Sometimes it's 1 1/8 inch. But just use an inch for a good round number, and you're usually pretty good to go. So I'm going to end here for a few minutes. I've got to take a lot of measurements, cut the table down, cut the wood down. There's no point in you watching it because I barely want to do it, let alone make you have to watch it. So back in a minute. All right, well, she's warming up. Currently, I've got it set to 165. She's at 66. All right, so it's been like, I don't know, a while, 4 hours, 5 hours of this thing running. What I find very interesting is that we're still at 170, and the PID is still saying 175. However, the fluid temperature and the head temperature here, I'm gonna call it head, and if you like it or not, I don't really, but it's head temperature to me. It's now up to 210, and I find that very, very interesting. Why is the column head saying 175, but yet the fluid and head temperature is now saying 210? I'm just gonna like tip my hat to the PID settings that George had done when he was here. I think that it's actually self-regulating, and we're still pumping out 170 proof, and we have been from the very beginning, which is incredible. Our water temperature is at 63 degrees. Coming out of the pre-condenser is, I would say, about 80 degrees, so it's not that hot. Yeah, I'm gonna let this thing go for the next couple hours and see what happens. Pretty good. So it's been another hour, and I'll be damned. It's still pumping out, and it's getting stronger, but I haven't really changed anything. So we're now at 178. Interestingly enough, the top of the column is at 175. Down here on the bottom, we are at now 210. We're gonna let it keep going, see what happens. All right, so what you probably can't tell in the video, and I'm on a GoPro Hero 7 right now, it's coming out as a pretty steady drip. We're at 175 still at the column head. We are at now still about 210. The problem is that, you know, time is of the money too. Time is of the money. Oh, Jesus. Time is money. So I'm probably going to go ahead and increase the temperature some and see what we can get out of this thing. We've already done about 1.2 gallons running the math at, let's say, roughly 10%. I should get about 1.4 gallons. So I think we're getting pretty close to running this thing dry anyway. But we're going to go ahead and crank it up from 175 to 185 and see what happens. So where are we? Truthfully, I got tired of fucking with it. I really did. It's late. I'm tired. It's been a long few days. It's after the holidays. I just want to go relax with my family. I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to keep pushing it. I tried everything to push it, to be honest with you. I did everything from turning off the pre-condenser, raising the temperature on the head all the way to 210. Nothing I did, nothing was pumping out any more of this. I mean, I'm not just saying nothing as in like, you know, nothing like no alcohol. I mean, nothing was coming out of this thing. It did not want to produce any more. I'm still getting a strong alcohol smell coming out of what's now draining out of the still. I mean, I think if I would have kept it at 175 and just not dick with it, it probably would have kept going for another half gallon, honestly. At 170. Mathematically, what I have is a bit more than a gallon, and that's what I should have came up with, about 1.4. So, am I at 1.4 gallons? Probably not. I'm probably like 1.3, but I just didn't want to deal with it anymore, honestly. I didn't. You know, I got too many things to do in too short of amount of time, so we're just going to drain this bad boy out, go ahead and let it cool down some, and then from there, get this thing cleaned up and ready for the next run. On that note, I will see you guys next time. Looking forward to it. Here is the blooper. This is the blooper. So. Oh no. Yeah.
Hobbles?
So I kind of forgot about something. We had, when George was here, packed this with copper and with marbles. That bitch. See if I can figure out a way. This is just a disaster in the making. I can feel it. Hold on. This is not gonna work either. All right. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, right? Oh, this sucks. This is good. This is just gonna suck. God damn it. All right, well. Yes, I get what you're saying, okay? But I will also be the very first one to admit that the first mistake I make every day is waking up. If I wake up, I have messed up. That's just how it works. And so I make 1,000,000,001 mistakes, and I screw up left, right, and center, and I will own every one of those things. And to like the end of the world, I'll own it. But I have got to learn how to eat crow.
I think you're slurring your words.
I'm actually really impressed at how like I'm not really slurring them that bad because I'm like
how
seriously,
together you have it.
12 shots in, dude. I was just like, I'm like, screw this.
Good heavens.
That's like, I think honestly that's the problem that most of distillers have is that you sit there and it's like this hurry up and wait game. You know, you're like, you're sitting here and you're putting all this stuff together and then you get up, it's hurry up, boom, and then you wait. You know, like you make your wash or your mash or whatever, and then you're waiting 10 days, or you put it in your still and you're waiting like 7 hours.
And maybe we should.
Yeah, yeah, we should. You know, but what ends up happening is that like, you know, for you being a doctor, you know, you're so involved with that, you know, saving lives and stuff like that, or you know, with your family. And same thing here is I have a full-time job and a career, and
of course,
also a family. And then you forget about like the stupid little small things like marbles in the column. And you're like, oh my God, this thing just happened. And that's like something that everybody else goes through.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, we just actually had developed a form that essentially tracks the entire process of a distillate. So from making your mash or wash, down to fermentation times, down to like yeast, I mean the whole nine, then to distillate, then to polishing, then to aging, and then to what we call death of an age, which is when you take it out, okay? And this tracks all of it. Now, right now it's in sandbox mode. We're in the process of testing it. We're testing it on ourselves to make sure that's all good to go. And then once that's done, we're gonna go ahead.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, self-experimentation.
Yes. Said the last heroin addict I knew. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so no. No. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Okay. So no. Yeah. So we're gonna test this entire thing, right? And then we're gonna release it out to everybody to be able to go ahead and use and enjoy. Hopefully, you guys can then fine tune your processes, your recipes, and what you did to make whatever you liked.
Yeah. So we're basically just trying to track everything with all the data points we can basically think of. And the purpose of it is mainly to be able to recreate after you've finished a run, you've got your liquor in a bottle, and you say, this is really good. I hope I can recreate this. And this is basically a tool, at least for us, because I mean, you've given me a lot of praise earlier, but I'm just not smart enough to say, you know, to remember every single step of the way. All the data points, the pH, the specific gravity.
It's a lot.
Everything. It is a lot.
It is.
And quite frankly, why not make it easier on yourself? And that's why we've created this program, and we're going to be using it.
Right. But once again, if you were doing this full time, how much easier would that be?
Well, but again, there are variations. You know,
I'm trying to get him to quit his job. Okay.
If I'm making a gin, if I'm making a bourbon, do I just want to make a straight blend? What do I want to do?
Right.
And every single one of these things has these little nuances that you need to think about, and to have it just a trackable process is key in my opinion. Yeah.
So that's what we've developed. That's what we're in the middle of testing, and then once we've done testing it, we're going to go ahead and send it out to you guys and let you test it as well. And then there's going to be a ton of things that are different. So, for instance, with us, we've now termed bulbs, right? Okay.
Right.
They're the fast ferments, but they look like a teardrop. It looks like a bulb to us, and then you know, that's what we use. And so, like in the forms that you'll see, it's all terminology is based on bulbs.
Right.
Let us know how to change that form once we do release it. It'll be within the next like week or two that we send it out to everybody, and we'll adjust it. You know, if you don't use bulbs, you use 5-gallon buckets. I mean, let me know what you use, and then I can adjust those options in there, and then that way we can all kind of start just make sure we track this stuff. And
of course, this is assuming or hoping that people will actually like to use this thing. They may just say, well, you guys are stupid. Like, why don't you just like write it in a notebook or something like that? So anyway, we're trying to make this
I really hope that's not
kind
the
of
case.
easy-ish, at least for us, by being able to track it on your cell phone and whatever, and you know, it's going to go up in the cloud, and that way it's retrievable wherever you are and whatever device you're using. And that's basically the point of it that we like, and that you know was part of the thinking behind creating this thing. but you know, any old feedback would be great. And like I said, you know, people may not like to use this thing and say, oh, this is garbage.
I really
Which
hope
is
they
fine.
do. No, I
I
really hope they do.
I certainly do too, but you know,
Well, I gotta tell you something. Boom. So I just spent $30,000 on developing an app for us.
basically.
No, I actually just sent a check out for $30,000 to develop an app for us. So on that note, we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
What?